Hopefully you can kind of see this. It really doesn't, you don't really need to see too much because I'm gonna kind of talk about some of this stuff. But actually, Peter, while a couple people are jumping in, I believe it was Peter that asked the question. And he was kind of asking, he was like, hey, he's like, do you like, garage doors more, or do you like gates more? And I thought that was kind of a good question. I thought that's a good question. And I thought I could highlight on that a little bit. Back you up just a touch here. See how everything's moving. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. I hope everybody's driving safe out there. Okay, let's just take a look at this. Let's dive in. I might add some stuff. Plus, if you guys got anything, if you're a business owner, or if you're thinking about doing business, or you're just a young buck and you're just thinking about starting out, hey, you're more than welcome to put your 2 cents in here because, it's one of those things. Uncle Dave is here to help you. And you guys help me too, so I really appreciate that. Okay, so we kind of got gates, we kind of got doors, and then I had to put in fencing. So I got to put in some fencing, right? So, gates. Here's kind of some of the stuff. Now, when I talk about gates, I don't have a picture right here. I could show you because we're on a live stream. But we're talking about cantilever slide gates, right? Maybe what I'll do is I'll take you out for a second. Let's go out for a second. Let's just do this, right? Why not? We're here. Let's do this. I got time on my hands right now. And I'm here for you. Like I said, I want you to do better than I did. How about that, huh? Hopefully the stream stays going. We'll see. So obviously when I'm talking like gates, when I think of gates, this is what I think of gates, right? Slide gate, swing gates, commercial, 6 foot tall gates. I see we got Mr. Patrick in the house. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing good. When I'm talking fencing, I'm talking like back there, right? Fencing. Fencing goes all around here, fencing. Okay, we're kind of on the same page, right? There's a little difference, obviously, with residential. We don't really do residential fencing. It's pretty competitive. It's pretty competitive, and I don't like particularly, this is just my opinion, I typically don't like dealing with all the permits. It's not so much the permits. They're too small of jobs with not enough profit. Does that make sense? So you got to deal with a homeowner, right? And a homeowner is way different than a commercial person. Commercial people are kind of like, hey, we're putting on an addition. We need you to make this so we can park trucks back here, so we can store things back here. We just need this baby secure, right? Residential though, you always got to remember, with residential, I see Sky's here. What's up? Tanner's here too? Dang, dog. You got to remember right here. See if mama gave me any money. This, right? This comes out of residential people. Residential people. And they like to hang on to this. They don't like to give that stuff up. When it's commercial, not saying they don't bid, they have their own problems, but it's typically, let's get a bid, let's get the job done, right? I just found it, commercial's a lot easier with that kind of stuff. It's got its own problems, trust me. Okay, so going on to the gates. Some of the pros, one of them is bigger profits. Well, how do you say that? Why do you say that? Well, I say it because if you got a buddy, and I got I think I got 3 buddies now. I got 3 buddies that run roofing business, right? And their profit margins are a lot higher than the garage door and gate and fencing. Why is that? Their numbers are bigger. Numbers get bigger, profit typically gets to be bigger. It also includes more labor, more headache, but there's bigger numbers typically. So, bigger profit. One of the things with the gates is typically it's not a one-day event. So it's kind of a pro and con. Sometimes you're set in post, and you're kind of done for the day. You know what I mean? Or you got to go do something else. But you know what you're up against the next day, which is kind of nice. Slow and steady. If you're kind of a slow and steady person, right? You like to drink your coffee, you like to smoke a cigarette, you like to just kind of, you know, methodically think about things, maybe gates are for you. You know, it's not like a rabbit, right? And you know, fast. It's you got to take your time. You got to be a good craftsman about it. Job security. The reason I put job security on there was because typically, I'm not saying always, but I bet about, I would have to say probably about 95% of our customers that we've installed gates for have always stayed with us. They haven't with garage doors, right? They'll just they don't see the sticker. They just call whoever's on Google, on top of Google. The phone book is pretty much dead, so we don't have that. Read one here. We'll see what Tanner's got. Says I have thought about starting fencing. We have no one within a few hours that does it, but kind of want to stick with chain link. We only have like 2 or 3 gate operators in the area. Just the sheriff's department, okay, and the industrial companies. So not much, not much of a calling for it. Yeah, it's. I kind of feel like this theory stays true a little bit. Um, at least in my neck of the woods, right? We have a pretty good population around here. We also, the way I kind of little think about it, right, is job security of it, because we all know that the world's getting crazier. We know people are doing all kinds of stuff, more drugs, more theft. So people are, you know, I don't see that reversing anytime soon, especially like with the whole administration, with the whole just everything promoted out there in life. I don't see it being like, hey, Tweety birds, and make sure marriages and husbands and wives and everything just, you know, stay together, and they incentivize it, stuff like that. I think it's going to keep, you know, we're going to see a lot of, you know, some of the home wrecks and stuff like that in houses, unfortunately. And so the fencing seems like, you know, and kind of the gates seem like it's kind of like a no-brainer, you know, like it's there. Not to say garage doors aren't either, you know, because there's the people want. What I always think about with garage doors though is like a garage door can break and somebody can park outside, right? So, but when it comes to new projects, especially kind of commercial, they got to get it done. It's got to get secured. We're not parking our service vehicles back here. We're not putting our equipment back here. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars, or trailers. I know for even around the shop, it was a great investment. It really was, to put the fencing around. Just a peace of mind. You know what I mean? To know that people aren't messing with your stuff. Some of the cons, let's say with the gates, manpower. Manpower can be difficult, right? Because some days you only need yourself. You're digging a couple holes maybe, or you have another guy. And then sometimes when you're setting things, you need 2, sometimes 3 guys. Typically a 2-man crew can get pretty much everything done, with some leverage and some smarts, you know. Another thing for gates, dirt, dirt. I cannot stress enough. I've failed on this many times. I cannot stress enough to make sure you call like your local utility company. You know, ours is called Miss Dig. I think we call 811, and have them mark that stuff. That's something that you got to do preemptively. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think they get up to, oh, I can't remember what it is. If it's like 14 days or something like that for them to mark everything. That's something you got to stay on top of, because let's just say people like to, especially the phone company and the internet company, typically like to run their service along driveways. If it's a longer driveway or just any driveway, they like to run it like, you know, 4 or 6 inches deep, and that's a great spot to be putting in your gate, and you chop the wire. So the beautiful thing is, and for us, I believe it's 5 foot. So wherever the center of that line is, you got 5 foot on each side that you're supposed to hand dig. The big thing is at least if you get it done, you have them come out, it's kind of a that-a-boy. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, you're off the hook a little bit. Not saying there's not going to be some charge in that, but at least you did the right thing. You hand dug it, and you're like, hey, it was 6 feet over that way, and I'm digging over here. I don't know what happened. But if you don't, those utility companies typically, especially if you hit something that's real major, gas line, something like that, that's not good. Never gone that far, but I've hit a few internet lines, and I think one was around like $800 some to get repaired, and the other one, the guy said he's just going to say a branch fell in the woods Probably because he was a hefty dude, and I did most of the digging for him. And unfortunately, I had manpower in that one. And I even asked the guy. I told the guy that was working there that day. I told him. Look, man. I said, you get paid by the hour, okay? I said, so take your time. I said, if you see anything that looks like a tree root, I said, don't chop it. I said, get down on your knees and check it first, right? I came back a couple days later as we were working there. It's for a couple barrier arm gates. I realized utility companies there. And I said, hey, why is there a utility company here, for internet? Asked him, I said, what's going on? He said, he says the customer's saying they lost internet. Well, isn't that a quinky dink? And guess who's here? And I said, he's looking in all the wrong spots. And I told him, I said, dude, it's got to be right here. I said, it's got to be. I said, this is where we were digging. I said, it's got to be. Sure enough, I dug it up. I don't know how the one guy that no longer works here did not notice it because the wires were gushing. They had actually silicone in them, so it oozed out, and the wires were like this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and they're colorful. Like it looks like Fruity Pebbles. You know what I mean? Like, I think he hit it and just didn't tell me. So utilities, sometimes remember the utilities won't cover, personal stuff for the homeowner, whatever utilities they've ran, whatever sprinkler systems they got, any just phone lines that they run to a barn or something, anything goofy. I wrote on their back problems too. If you don't like digging, you got back problems. That can be a pitfall of like gates. Let's see here. Concrete. This is a big one. This is something I've overlooked many a times. When you're dealing with gates, you're in a different world, man. I mean, you're dealing with concrete. You got to deal with water. Like, how are you going to get water to the job site? I mean, those are some big problems. You wouldn't think they are, but I use little jugs sometimes if it's small enough. I got a water container that I'll bring too. That's a 35 gallon. But it's a problem on the job site. Finding water is a real pain. Concrete's hard to haul too. It's heavy. So typically what I'll do is I actually call a lumberyard company around here that'll deliver us a skid depending on how much we need. And if it's a little bit over, I'd rather take 10 bags back than have to keep going to the store and bringing them, because it's always better to have more than not enough. I can always take the stuff back, but once you're there, baby, you know how it is, right? The sweat's running down, the guys are there, the music's playing. You don't want to hop in the truck and go get more concrete. Skidster is convenient, but not an always. Let's see here. Electronics. This is a big one for the gates, right? Electronics, circuit boards, programming, limits, all these things, right? Another one was human interaction. I cannot tell you how much I do not like human interaction. I love my humans, my fellow man, my fellow woman, but human interaction is very difficult. So you have to remember, every time that gate doesn't open, it malfunctions, the power goes out. Ooh, there's a lot. Let's take a look here. Let's take a break for a second. I see, what's Sky get? Oh, that's right. Sky gave me cheers. Good. I was going to say, Sky's always good for the cheers. That's right, man. Gives me a break. Sheriffs? Peter. Oh, hey, Peter's here. Awesome. That's cool. Thanks for the video. No problem, man. Like I said, throw anything too if you got any questions, because this rabbit hole can go very deep, Yeah, Iowa have dirt and snow. I don't know much about Iowa. I wonder if Tanner could tell me, do you got a lot of rocks? Because I know the guy that came over here for a while to help me do fencing. He's like, dude, Michigan's the crap, man. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, your ground is so soft. He's like, sand and just dirt. He's from Colorado. He's like, Colorado, it's all rocks. He's like, I mean, big rocks too. He's like rocks after rocks after rocks. I'm like, oh. He's like, yeah. It's like, try to work over there. I've done 5 fences and I like it, but I feel like my door business would butt heads with fencing. I know we all are dealing with skilled labor, but I can't do them. Says it. Peter says, I love it. Says it was those rainbow roots. That's a good one, man. I'm gonna keep that one. I like that one. They're all the time. Oh man. So, like I said, the gates got human interaction. But like I said, let's go back a little bit. Just not forget. Like I said, bigger profit, you know, bigger problems, bigger profit. So, like I said, you got the human interaction. These can be eliminated if you do it correctly. You know, you set the limits up right, use the right equipment, basically, the right accessories. You actually make sure, like, your photo eyes got the snow boxes. And like I said, they're not cheap. You got to put them in your bid. You know, they're another $300-400. You know, but that's stuff that you almost gotta educate the customer on it and explain to them why you're doing this, because you got experience, or you know there's going to be failures and you don't want them to have failures. So, and sometimes you got to break that stuff down a little bit. At least spell it out. Maybe if you don't have your numbers on there, but that way they can compare it to another quote or another estimate and say, "Are you going to provide a snow box for our photo eye?" You know, things like that. The gates, the con part. You know, you're kind of an electrician. You know, so you're a sparky, you're an electrician, right? Because you're dealing with low voltage most of the time. A lot of low voltage, a lot of conduit. You're a conduit guy, you know what I mean? So you got plastic conduit, you might have metal conduit. Um, it's pretty wide, man. So like I kind of like semi agree with Tanner. Like I can't fault him is what I'm trying to say, because I totally see where it's a hard shift to be, you know, gates or fencing and garage doors. It's tough. It's like you almost kind of need a different division for that. But it's worked for us. The guys, you know, normally if you got kind of the one lead guy or two, and the others kind of follow to help, you can kind of get it done. You know what I mean? Hauling supplies, another big one, right? Who's building the gates? I had a buddy that used to build the gates for me in his garage. I used to have my 20-foot skinny trailer I would set the gates down on, and that's how I would haul them. And then I got some really big ones, and I got a 60-footer, I think, out in the field out there. That was a doozy. Don't really recommend that. That was actually a mobile home trailer. So the best thing is if you got a vendor, but I think it's anything over right around 36, 40 feet. They won't haul it for us. We got to kind of piece it together. But I've had a couple gates, slide gates, that are, you know, 42 or whatever in length. And I've either squeaked by or I had to haul them myself. That's a pain. So hauling the supplies, like I said, the concrete takes up a lot of room. Water takes up a lot of room. So if you don't coordinate these things, it can eat up your truck real fast, especially if you only got like a 3/4 ton, even almost a 1 ton. It can be kind of, yeah, 1 ton even. Sometimes you can overload the vehicles basically. All right, let's talk about the doors a little bit. Bring you over here, waddle waddle. So on the door side, like I said, there's plenty to add. Like I said, you can feel welcome to anything, or if you got any questions, don't hesitate, ask away. Because like I said, I don't got all of it. This was probably with an hour of thinking of stuff, kind of going, you know, what do I, you know, this or that. And like I said, there's really no magic pill. You know, it's more or less kind of what battles do you want to fight? It's kind of like my mom always used to tell me, right? She always used to tell me, she says, Dave, you're never going to find the perfect woman. I found one that's darn near close. And she said, you're never going to find the perfect woman. But she says, so you got to choose your battles. And I was like, that's right, Mom. And mine's, like I said, she's 99.9. There's a 1% in there. Love you, dear. Anywho, so the door is a pro. Couple hours. You know, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. We've kind of have it ingrained here, and I blame myself. I think it's gotten a little bit better since I don't really hang out that much here and pound and pounce and micromanage. But it's like fire, rapid fire, man. Just, you know, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. We got to get to the next one. We got to do the next one. That's really not a good model to have. You got to really do a good job while you're there, because whatever you don't take care of, it's kind of, think of it as like this, like a mess, right? If you don't clean up the mess now, it kind of compounds, right? Everything starts compounding. You know, now you got a mess here, 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 didn't do the dishes, you didn't do, it all starts compounding. And then what happens is, since you were there and you did something, and now something else failed, when you knew the cable should have been replaced, we've been there. You should have replaced that cable while you're there. that's all part of scheduling and stuff like that. But it's a couple hours. So it's a couple hours. A lot of guys like that. Boom, you're in, you feel satisfied. It's kind of like instant gratification, right? You eat a candy bar. Woohoo, I'm all good. I got a Snickers in me. I'm not grumpy anymore. So a lot of guys like that kind of stuff, a couple hours. Doors, typically, little manpower. There was a lot of stuff I used to do with two men. That's a hard thing to judge. And my buddy that passed away, that was in the garage door business, he always used to tell me, you know, he used to always get on me, be like, why are you sending two guys for a 16 by 7? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, because the one guy said he has diarrhea today, okay? I don't know. So there, I'm sending them. So little manpower, typically openers, one man, you know, if one service tech goes out there, it's, you know, you can do it yourself, all that kind of stuff. Um, I don't know why. Oh, it's mechanical. So I was kind of thinking about it. And I thought, you know, garage doors just seem a lot easier. Trust me, there's a lot of, you got to be smart with garage doors. There's no doubt about it. But what I meant was I was thinking it's more like you're kind of a parts person, right? You just kind of replace parts, you fix things, you do, there's things, I mean, I'm not trying to like downgrade it. You have to do things. I mean, there's things that we have to engineer and kind of do, but it's just not as, you know, you're not a mason, you're not an electrician, you're not an engineer, you're not a whatever, a conduit guy to, you know, like conduit. Like, you know what sometimes is a big problem with conduit for like gates and stuff like that? Is getting the stinking wire through the conduit. So either you piece it through, you got to use a vacuum with a little piece of plastic with a rope and have a vacuum under there and suck it through. And like I said, it's a lot of stuff that typically if you have two people, it's way easier. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of stuff on my own, you know, electrical tape the vacuum on, let it run, go back to the other side, throw the stuff through. It's just, it's problems sometimes. Some of the cons with doors, typically, this is just my opinion, been my experience, is it's not much profit. It's not to say you can't make money, you know, $2, $4, $6, $1,200, whatever, the bigger jobs. But in my head, right, I'm always thinking, I go, we also have a moving appliance on somebody's building or somebody's house, right? That, you know, depending on, sometimes if you're like us, you know, we go to residential and sometimes we go really nice residential. So you're hoping, you know, like your vehicle doesn't leak on their driveway. You're hoping that you don't, you know, squish fluffy, you know, your photo eyes are the right height when maybe they're not quite because you got blocks, 2 blocks, and you're like, I'm not drilling in block. I just went to the wood. Or they don't clip on because they're genies to the track if they're LiftMaster. There's kind of a whole thing that goes along with it a little bit. Like I said, it's not say you can't go and boom, 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 but you got to remember what I always tell myself is every job you're touching is a potential callback, right? If the garage doors quits and you were just there last week, they're not calling the plumber, they're calling you. So now you got to go back. And that's where it's like, you got to make sure when you go out there, you do a good job. You know what I mean? Don't half-ass it, basically. Let's see. So light bulbs. I had to bring up the light bulbs. You guys know I love light bulbs. I actually hate light bulbs. I just had somebody bring up that light bulb. Oh, it was at the wood door video. And the lady asked me, she says, can you change my light bulbs? And I'm like, I have no problem changing the lady's light bulb. That's not a problem, but it's just light bulbs. When I hear light bulbs, I'm like, give me your light bulbs. And I just want to smash them. Because I just have had such a bad experience over the years with light bulbs. You know, I've used ones from the customers. Some of you guys know about the story on it. That's never a good situation. Don't use used light bulbs. It seems like no matter how many times, unless I have them sign a contract and I tell them, say, look, this is a used light bulb from your old opener, they don't hear that. They don't hear that. And then 2 weeks later, the light bulb dies and they call me and they're going, hey, that light bulb or that opener you sold me, I don't think it's very good. And I go, what do you mean it's not very good? Well, the light bulb's not working. And I'm like, it's because I told you it's a used one. I didn't have one. Nowadays, we got the LEDs are a lot, you know, they don't break, shatter. Probably should just carry them on the truck. Cons with garage doors. Back to the human operation. Humans. Garbage cans in the corner, hits the photo eye, knocks the photo eye out of it, you know, and like I said, if you're not sharp on the phone, your secretary's not asking the right thing, your wife, whoever, Those can be callbacks. Ask for pictures. Say, hey, what's going on? It's blinking. Well, the only reason to be blinking, you might want to, you know what I mean? So it's just, there's a lot of little petty things. The leaves get on it. The not ladybugs, but spiders make a web around it. Sunlight has been issues. I've had issues with, doors that never had photo eyes. Now they got photo eyes. Now the sun comes and the rays just right hits that photo eye and won't let the door shut. But by the time I show up there an hour later, or maybe two, now the door works and you're like, what the heck? What's going on? And then you have to play detective. So there's just so many human interactions with it. If they lose power, if there's not a slide lock on there, they lose power. And now they want a slide lock so they can secure the building or secure the homeowners, sometimes commercial too. You know what I mean? Door stuck open. It's Friday. Hey, we gotta close the building, secure the building. Another thing with garage doors, I kind of wanted to highlight this. I see Daniel at the bottom here. Daniel says hi. Hello. Scratches. This is the big one. This is what's going to kind of play into the fencing a little bit. So, scratches. I cannot tell you. I almost feel bad. A little tear come out of me. Garage doors. Damage. Damage. Scratches. Dings. All kinds of things. I like that rhymes. So, I mean, and I don't know. I'm just kind of one of those guys. I've had guys try to butter up every which way, right? And sure, the vendor will send you a new one. I've had new sections come in that they had the wrong sheen on them, right? They were like painted a different lot number. And you can tell right away. You put that next section in and you're like, that thing looks horrible. This looks off-white and this looks brilliant white. What the heck? It's normally not so bad with the commercial guys. It's more with the residential. So that's why, kind of a pain. Because they might replace it for you, but you got to go back, man. You got to go back and spend your own time, your own gas. And that's when you smash up that van or you smash up that truck doing that warranty work, which you were like, this wasn't even my fault. This was the vendor. Or maybe it was your fault because you're putting them on those ladder racks really high up. And you creased it when you yanked it off. If the door is scratched, we got that little job is unknown backed. Okay, so little jobs. One thing I don't like about sometimes kind of the residential, right? Even commercial can be like this. You're kind of what I don't like about the residential doors and that, especially this is more or less probably like the service end of it, is you're kind of always going into the unknown, right? Now, if your secretary yourself or wife is taking good notes and they are making sure they're getting pictures of things, but sometimes it just doesn't happen, right? Sometimes they're just, I'm not home, nobody's home, the door's unlocked, there's somebody, in your time, and you're like, well, I can go there. But you're always dealing like with the unknown. I hate the unknown. I hate going into, garage doors got a bunch of garbage in it, like literally garbage, or you get in there, there's a car, there's two antique cars in there, and you're like, oh man, you know how it is. You get there and you got a 16-foot torsion tube, but you need an 18-foot torsion tube. So now you got to make a run back. Now, technically what you should be doing is you should basically put that into your time. And that's why I also always talk about staying close to the shop. Because if you, like I said, if you go 2 hours one way, that's just too much, man. I mean, by the time you like, oh, I got to drive all the way back to the shop. And then you got, you're talking, well, your bill's $5,000. They go, well, yeah, go fly a kite. And now you're out the time, the money, and you might be going to court or you might just have to eat it. Not good. Not good. Oh, Daniel says, today is my birthday. That's awesome. Happy birthday. How old are you? How old are you? We'll jump back here. I will have dirt and snow. Peter says, rainbows, both and me are all the time. Not really for those rocks, but you will hit them from time to time. But no, it's just nice, soft, black dirt and sand. Nice. Nice. That's awesome. That's kind of what we got here. You'll find a rock here and there, but typically for the most part, it's just sand and dirt. So that's nice. Nice digging. So let's get to My favorite. And I think there's a reason. I think there's a reason for this. It's a fence. Fencing. Just fencing. No gate, no electronics, just pure like commercial fencing. It's difficult, it's hard work. But if you're kind of like anything like me, and you kind of got that farmer in you, like you're always like wishing that maybe you were a farmer. I might have somebody here. What's up?
Knock, knock.
Oh, I was doing live. Can I show your kid?
Yeah, come on, Doug. Come on.
This is Justin.
How you doing? And this is my Victoria.
Hi, Victoria. You don't gotta be shy. What a cutie.
We just stopped in to grab my wallet. So.
Oh man, you're just like Dale.
It's off. It was like 3 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God.
How much money? How much money is in that wallet?
There's nothing in there.
Dang. I was gonna say, I could have went to the bar tonight. See you, bud. Have a good one. That's awesome. All right, so we're gonna talk about the fencing. So the fencing, we got, let's see here. Normally good money in fencing. A lot of profit. Another thing is, typically what I like about the fencing is like zero. I mean, almost like zero callbacks. It is zero. I'm just telling you. Unless you do something horrendous. I think one, I remember, we ended up putting slats in it, which slats are like the plastic things that go in there to help make so you can't see through it so bad. It was kind of my screw up. I used aluminum ties. Now they make metal ties, the twisty ones, which I might have showed those before, maybe not. And what it is that those things will actually, they won't let loose. The aluminum ties broke loose on me. And what happened was it turned into a sail, the center of the line post, and it ended up, it bent my end post. It was my fault. We had a big windstorm come through, so it caught. It was a learner's mistake, let's just say. So, what I like about fencing, and I think there's a lot of guys that like fencing for those reasons, honestly, is because they don't, and the reason I say this is because I've had numerous of people, actually, what they'll do is they'll actually, they've contracted us. Does that make sense? Like they've contracted us to subcontract for them. Like they do the fencing, they're like, we don't have nothing to do with the gates. And I've caught on to that over the years that I'm like, you know, like it just, why are they doing that? Why aren't they doing the gates? And what I've learned is that they don't actually like, they don't like doing the gates because it's human interaction. For one, they typically aren't experts in it. Trust me, when you do gate, and what I mean by gates, and I'm talking like the gate operators, electronics, making the gate slide or swing, you know, there's a lot of little tricks of the trade that go into them. So like I said, we got good money in fencing. Basically no callbacks, which I like because I've never had anybody, right? I've taken fencing, I put it on the dirt. I've kicked it in the back of trucks. I mean, I had a couple that got the I think they call it cyclone fencing in a sense, or just chain link fencing. I've had some where they have gotten stretched, but you unweave them, which if you guys ever want to know how to do that, I'll show you how to do it. It's not that hard because I was doing it the wrong way when I first started out. I was doing it so wrong. So anywho, but like I said, you basically put it up. If it needs to touch the ground, if it's residential, whatever, you got to feel the situation out, right? If somebody's sitting there telling you, going, "Hey, Fluffy's going to be in here. I got to have Fluffy." You know, you got to keep it to the ground. You might have to dig a little trench. You got to put a brace in the bottom, a bar, so the dog can't get out. So you got to understand the situation. But if it's just commercial, like I said, they just want it, make it look good, look somewhat level. Way you go. A con with fencing, though, kind of has the same thing, right? Manpower. Fencing takes some manpower typically, you know. Hey, good old Cole from what you call it, from Colorado. He used to do like 6 foot all day long. I think even with Barb, pretty much by himself. He was a trooper, man. So can you do it? Yeah. Is it super hard? I think so. I think you definitely want 2 guys. 3 or 4 is always nice. More the merrier, depending on the scope of the job and how big it is and what you got going. Dirt, kind of the same thing. We don't know what's in the dirt, right? We don't know what's in the ground. That's kind of a pain, right? You go to dig a hole, maybe using a skid steer or something with an auger, and you find out that there is a septic tank or something right there. And you're like, great, what do we do now? Do we punch a hole through it? Do we just quit and leave? Do we get a pad mount? Same thing with fencing though, concrete and water, kind of a bear, right? You can get a cement truck on bigger jobs, so that is nice. Cement truck's the way to go, especially if you can get around the perimeter if you're doing commercial. Skid steer, that helps a lot. Typically, you got to have a Skytrack or a skid steer or something at a job like that. The big one too, another one was you can't do it in the wintertime. Not to say the gates have actually, they're kind of, you're not doing such a big area. So normally you can kind of get away with some stuff. At least I have. I don't try to do it in the dead of winter, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If somebody, a semi truck takes out a pole or something. But fencing, I told myself, I did one. I think we set the pole wrong or something. Or I went back to retie the fabric or whatever. And I told myself, I was like, we should do this. It's like, we just got to charge basically double. I said, we just got to charge double. That's all we got to do. And after my fingers were freezing and everything, I said, the heck with that. I said, we got to charge triple. I said, there's no way. It was a bear. You guys got anything on that? Oh, man. So Daniel's got his birthday today. Holy cow, we got 11-year-old Daniel's here. Wow. Awesome, man. I hope you're out there hustling and crushing it. I mean, hopefully you're, what do they say? Stay in school? Stay in school and be cool, 11? Let's see, I got a 10-year-old. She might be 11. Is she 10 or 11? Got a 13, 10, 13. What can I tell you? Don't give your parents crap. Be good to your parents. I have to go. I'm going to watch the rest later. Thank you for this video. No problem, Peter. Anytime. I'm actually going to take a step outside for a second. See how it is a really super duper nice day out. Today was a perfect working day. Even though in the shop there, I'm getting a little toasty going over that stuff. I hope, like I said, hopefully it can help some of you guys out. You guys are more than welcome. I'll stick on here for a little bit longer. If you got any questions, let me know. Feels great out here. Feels great. Oh, we got 2 thumbs up. We got 7 people here. We got to get the thumbs up a little bit more. You guys got to help me out a little bit. It's a lot of work, doing these videos sometimes. There's all kinds of, you got stuff in them. You got to stop. You got to write all this stuff. I mean, it's not easy, especially when you've got a camera crew. Big old cantilever gates, man. Man, look at that sky. Man, the sky's beautiful. This one's a variable speed. Now, of course, you know how it is. The best mechanics got the crappiest cars, all right? But this is a variable speed, and this is an old one. This one was actually rebuilt. It's got a big old Hemi motor in it, though. But it is glitchy. Man, is it glitchy. It does not like something. We're going to probably swap it out at some point. We got another one for it. That was cool. It was nice to see Mr. J. Mr. J and his daughter showed up. That's awesome. It's always good to see them. Jay always does good work. Maybe what we can do is we can get the... Don't tell Tony, because I don't think Tony's here. I'm doing a little bit on it. show you the new addition to the family here that we're gonna see how this puppy works. Oh, that's all you get. That's all you get. Guess you're gonna have to stay tuned. Anybody knows what it is, comment. It's a flux capacitor. Makes you go through the future a lot faster. All right, what do we got this up to? I normally, like I said, been trying to keep them under an hour in case somebody's driving to work or anything like that. Like I said, you just let me know if you got any questions. You're new. I wonder what Daniel's gonna do. Daniel, what are you gonna be? What do you want to do when you grow up? Got any ideas? 11? Man, that's hard. See if I can tip you back a little bit here. Whew. So that's kind of my overall, though, on the whole fence, gates, doors. It really is just up to you what kind of battle. It's really, there isn't nothing that's, it's kind of all what you want to do. It really is. I would definitely say, though, if you're going to be new at it, don't be like somebody I know that ended up trying to do gates and failed at it and then left customers hanging. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Make sure you're, an honorable woman, honorable man, take care of the customer. You know what I mean? Like, just don't let them down. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to go back, and even though you're like, I'm not doing those anymore, then pay somebody else to do it. That's smarter than you. Because I've seen a lot of people like do this kind of stuff, the gates. They don't put enough concrete in their poles, and all that stuff, that rework is horrible. Even in the garage doors. I've had guys that installed them too tight, stuff like that. Rework sucks. It sucks badly. I hate rework. I hate it. It's like, it's so embarrassing because can you imagine, like, if you got to tear a door down and the customer's like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm just tearing it down because, it's, it's just a little tight. And they're like, well, don't your guys know what they're doing? Then you got more chances of you get the door dirty. Sometimes you can widen out the tracks. Sometimes you can't. Depends. I've had it where they put steel in before and it's like, like you were first. A couple weeks later, the builder, whoever, they put steel right up to your track and you can't widen it out. And you're like, oh my gosh, the customer, or the builder or whoever, they didn't leave me enough room so I can move stuff over, your drums and everything. So that's why you got to really find the time for a lot of this stuff and be methodical about it and just you just do it right. Do it right the first time. You know what I'm saying? So, anywho, like I said, I'll probably jump off here in a few. If we got any questions or anything, like I said, you're more than welcome. You can always email me. I got my email in the description below. More than welcome to ask any questions. Otherwise, like I said, probably jump off here, grab a little bite to eat. If anybody else is in the business, let me know. Just playing around with this a little bit here. The old gates. Doors. What do you got here? Yep. There's pros and cons to everything. Just depends on which battle you want to fight. I kind of like the mixture. We got a good set of guys. And women. Don't forget the women are like what kind of supports us guys. You know what I mean? Like the secretaries and stuff like that. And some of the field. I know there's some field girls out there too. Can you step up? Can you step up? Say hello. We had enough here. I'll bring the wife. I'll bring the Wafetron on. She'll talk about some stuff. I throw her butt out there once in a while. She had to help me through a lot, there's for sure. Sometimes actually the women are better at it, honestly, because they're They're like, that's stupid. We're not doing that. Where the guys are kind of like, do it. You know, and then you regret it. You're like, that was stupid. I should have never done that. And then they'll sit there and be like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Dumb dumb. Yeah, the gate operators, like I said, I still remember. It says maybe bring the wife on and go the rental property. Yeah, I know, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Tanner. I'm glad Tanner brought that up. I've been thinking about it because I seen Tanner wrote a comment, and he's talking about the rentals and stuff. And I tell you what, it's. I don't think she. How do I explain it? She. Are some of you with me? Are some of you with me on this? Like I understand we're never going to understand birth, right? I get it. I get it. Like when you're a man, and you guys know how it is, right? When you're out there, right? When you're out there in the field and you're struggling and you're fighting these battles and I mean, you know how it is. You're up in that scissor lift. You're dripping sweat. You cut your arm. You're tired. Your muscles. You're doing everything you can to lift up that spring or whatever it is. I mean, it's like it reminds me of like what was it, like the Spartans or whatever? Is that 300M or something like that? You know those movies where like, I mean, you're just out on your own, man. I mean, you're a warrior, and I always kind of joke around with the PTSD. But there's a lot of PTSD and a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel for you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I feel for you out there in the field. You know, the sales, I mean, there's just so many hats you have to wear when you're in the service industry. And I'm sure there's other stuff too, but it's so much more steady. I can't even describe it. And like I said, I'm always trying to figure out how is it that you feel like you're on the other side of a fence. You know how they always say, the grass isn't greener. I'm not saying it's like you're going to be super, rich, but boy, it is a lot smoother. It's a lot more, it's not so much of a threat, it feels like. I don't know how to explain it. And I guess the reason what I can kind of like show an example is like, you ever think about it, like when you get a service call? I mean, it's like kind of almost like it feels like a little bit of that life or death, right? Like you got to take it, because if you don't take it, somebody else is going to take it, right? And if you can't get there, then they're going to find somebody else, or they got somebody to complain, or you know what I mean? And not always, but I tell you what, when you're on the other side, like when you're dealing with real estate, man, I can't tell you. It's so nice to be able to call. And they got their problems, right? It's hard to find good contractors. I couldn't believe I just called a painter, and I left him a really nice voicemail and everything. And he ended up, I said, hey, you can call me, you can text me. I mean, I gave him every option. I think I even gave him my email. I never got nothing. And I thought, wow, now that's really crappy service right there. It's one thing, if they would have called back and said, look, we're really busy. We apologize. We can't even look at your job, or something, even a text that just said, hey, I got your message. Unfortunately, but just pure nothing. And I thought to myself, I kind of went like I probably won't call you, and so I called another place. I tell you what, they had a secretary answer. She wasn't real bubbly, but she was very crisp. I mean, she knew her, she's like, phone number, what's the address? She says, how did you find us? Super important. How did you find us? You know what I mean? So she's documenting all this. She got email. And after I got off the phone, there was an email that came through. And I was like, wow. And they couldn't even hit the time or day I needed, but I was like, I just can't even like say no. You know what I mean? Like she's just roping me in, man. I mean, and so what I'm getting at is that it's just like, you just don't have that threat all the time. It's just such a different feeling. You know, you need something done. You're the one in control. Either you have a choice. Either you can do it. Either you can go cut the grass, or you can hire somebody. And guess what? There's a ton of people out there that want to cut grass. You know, there's a ton of people that typically want to do the painting. You know, like I said, some are good, some are bad. But it's like you got options where, like, I feel like when you kind of do the service side, when you're in the service, your options are kind of like you're always fighting that stuff a little bit, right? You got the customer that's upset, or oh, you can't do it fast enough, or when could you do it, or how long is it going to take? It's constantly, I don't know how to explain it. You're on the other side. It's just there's different sides of it. What? Where is he? Who cares? Watch the power I have. Poof, gone. We don't need negativity. There's enough negativity. Go outside and ride your bike. Sorry, just had to. So it's just something to think about. Like I said, it's just something to think about. You know, make sure you're starting to invest, especially if you're young. I mean, I wish I would have done a lot younger. Do your investments, do your research, invest. You know, you want to do real estate? Some people don't want to. I totally get it. You know what I mean? It's got its problems too. Nothing's perfect. But if you can diversify, not put all your eggs in one basket, that seems to kind of be the recipe. Unless you're just lucky enough you scratch a lotto ticket and you win it big. But then even if you do that, you better take that money and probably invest it somehow and not blow it. Because money is attracted to people that know how to handle it. You know what I mean? So just some stuff to think about. But yeah, like I said, it's a different feeling for sure. Let's clean this up. What are we at? We're almost at an hour. At an hour, we'll get off here. Like I said, get this cleaned up a little bit. Let's see how it goes. Like I said, if you guys got anything too, throw it up. I'm gonna grab some stuff, man. Clean this off a little better. You got to leave it better for the next guy than when you came across it. And what the heck, Rick? I said I got the time right now. I love helping you guys out. Anything I can do. I had a little bit of free time tonight. And what you got to remember too, another thing is you got to think about, like, this is just totally my opinion, is you got to remember, like with real estate or anything, there's other things out there that are similar. You got to remember that you're dealing with like a twofold. A twofold. What do you mean? Well, you got to remember you're buying an asset, right? That asset's producing money. And then that asset's also going up in money, right? Because there's nobody on here, I about guarantee it. At least there's never even been in my life, my whole working career so far, that I've gone to, that told me, you know, that house was actually is cheaper than back in like 1950, right? You all had it, right? I mean, we've all been around the dinner tables, we've all been at the parties, and somebody mentions, oh, you know, grandma or grandpa or, you know, your mom or dad, you know, I bought this house, it was $34,000. You know what I mean? And you're like, wow. And I mean, just a couple years back, maybe 4 or 5, you know, the house might have been 75, 80,000. Well, now it's even bloom up more. It's $120,000, $150,000 now house. So for one, you can use tax deductions. For two, you got something that's going up, right? We can't do that with a vehicle, right? There's nothing does that. No, the vehicles don't do it. They go down. You got to keep working, you get a paycheck, right? But you got to take that money and you really need to invest it into other things, you know, that keep making more money. Like generational wealth is really what you need to do. Because a lot of people don't know this and they're not taught this. The school systems aren't teaching it. So you as a parent, you as grandparents, whatever, man, you gotta teach. You gotta teach. Residual. Tony's got it. Residual. There you go. You gotta try to make that stream happen. You know what I mean? Like you gotta, and there's, you gotta kind of diversify, right? You gotta, you gotta make your money. So that's why you gotta go out and do whatever, your service business of some sort, garage doors, roofing, siding, windows, power washing, whatever you do, right? You gotta make the money, but you gotta, instead of blowing it, maybe on a boat that you can't really afford or cars or whatever, you gotta kind of keep that going. 06 Vans goes up in value. I see Tony jumped in here. I kind of spilled the beans a little bit with Tanner. I was telling him you're gonna love it, Tony. This thing needed already a filing. The one bracket wouldn't fit in there. I'll probably make a video about it, talk about it, all that kind of stuff. But yeah. But so far it's good. It's good. It's here. It made it. So far I'm excited. I'm excited for the guys to use it. I'm excited for me to use it. Try it out. See how it goes. See if the next one will have to be a shear winder or is it going to be a spring turner. I want to say tuner, but it's a turner. Oh yeah. I love it. Tanner's guy, he says, yes. He says, my 06 Duramax fan goes up in value. Oh, yes, it does not. Right? How many miles you put on that? It's a sweet rig, though. That's a sweet rig. Tanner just had to break my heart, though, when he goes with that truck. I told him I need workman's comp. It's up too high. You see the back end of that truck? It's up too high. I'm short. I'm same, though. I'm 5'9". Thing that always scares me. I've done this before. Like when you pull, I don't think I've ever seen anybody build something better. What they need to do is like make one that like it tilts, so like you can just almost like crank or hydraulically make it so it tilts. Because that's normally the 16 footers. That's where the problem is. If you drag them and then you do that, like you go to pull down and the weight's not right. That's when you put that little kinker in it, especially if it's a sandwich door. And I've had that where I put them on like sawhorses. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, fudge. I'm like, did I do that? Was that like that? That's from the vendor, right? That wasn't from us. I'm like, maybe we need a roller back there. That's what we need, a roller on the back. So it just rolls and you can tilt. Or you just get two guys. It's got 109. Oh my gosh. It's just a baby on her. Now the truck is at the same-ish miles. Those are baby miles, man, especially for a diesel. Especially, I told you about that roll pin, though. Got to watch out for that roll pin. Ever talk to, Dave's Auto Garage or whatever it is there on YouTube now? Facebook? He's all over the place. I see him everywhere. Thought he was supposed to do a Discovery Channel. I don't know if that ever went or not. I don't watch mainstream TV anymore, so I don't know if he's on there or not. You guys will have to let me know. All right, we're going to give it a couple more minutes. We're at 58. Then I'm jumping off. Got this all cleaned up. Got to move a few things back for the guys. And then, like I said, we'll see what it's like, huh? Call it a weekend. Pull you off here for a second. Do-do-do-do. And if old Mr. Justin jumps on, Mr. J is what I call him. Have a good weekend. Man, it's so nice out. Hopefully that don't lose you. If I do, thanks for being here. Go check out the neighbors here. See what he's got in his lot. Everybody likes looking at the cars. Got a pretty nice lineup this time. Got a caddy here. Colorado. I don't know if this has the 4 or 6 or a 3-cylinder. I don't know if they're doing 3 cylinders anymore. Should be a used car salesman. Jeep. Not a Jeep person. I mean, I like them. I'm just not a Jeep person. White looks nice. Wife would like that. Basic rims. Oh, bird crap. I hate bird crap. I think these ones have a lot of problems, these terrains. I think they're notorious for engine problems. Valve trains and stuff. What we got? This little another little Jeep. That's kind of sporty looking. Got an old Dodge with the Hemi. Got an old Dodge with a Hemi. This be a nice little work truck. Colorado. It's got a hitch. That's weird. Why does this one say that? Propane? Now you got me curious. I don't know. Maybe it just keeps a propane tank in the back or something. Neighbor Jim, good dude, man. He's had a heck of a life, man. He's got a lot of stuff. He's built a heck of a business. You can always check him out. Trading Post. Does a great job. He's had a lot of stuff, a lot of Elvis stuff in his, I mean, he's got some cool stuff. Johnny Cash, he's had a lot of Johnny Cash stuff. Just all kinds of stuff. He had the original E.T., used to have that. Had an Elvis suit. I remember watching, I don't know if he sold that one or not. Just really neat stuff. All right, guys, I'm hopping out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I don't know if I'll jump back on. We'll see how it goes. Take care. We'll see you on the next one. Over and out. Thanks for being here.